when you're speaking, you want to make sure the audience pays attention to you. You want to make sure they listen up to what you have to say. Now, to make that happen, you have to make sure that you've got something that is relevant to them, something that they're interested in, and that they're interested in you. If one of these three things is lacking, you've got a problem. You have to make sure that those three things are there. And it begins with making sure that you got something to say. Sometimes in a speech we get so interested in something, we think about it, we go into it, and really don't fully understand it. We don't really get it. And so we try to explain it. We really don't understand it ourselves, and so it really doesn't come off that well. Got to make sure you have something to say. What do you have to say? What are you talking about? That's very important. And if you miss that part, if you really aren't sure what you have to say, then there's a problem. Because if you don't know what you're going to have to say, the audience certainly doesn't know. They got no clue what you're talking about. So you have to make sure that you have something to say and that's going to get across to your audience. Once you have something to say, you want to make sure it's relevant to your audience. It's great if you have something to say, but if the audience doesn't care about it, there's a problem. Why should I listen to you? Why do I care about that? What does it matter? That's a very important thing. The audience is willing to listen to someone provided they get something that's relevant and matters to them. You're talking on and on about stuff and it has nothing to do with your audience and isn't relevant to their world, it's probably not going to do that well. Now, sometimes you can be an exclusive person and have first-hand knowledge nobody else does. But then the audience needs to care about the first-hand knowledge you have. If you just happen to be the greatest authority in archaeology, and you're talking to people who don't care anything about archaeology, it doesn't matter that you're so great at archaeology. Your audience doesn't care. It just doesn't matter to them. So it's not important. And even you got something to say. You know the audience could be interested in it. The other question is, why you? Why should they listen to you? Why are you the one giving this information? Why not somebody else? And that idea is the back of all the audience's mind. Who is this person up there? Why do I care about what they have to say? Are they the best persons to give me this information? If you happen to be exclusive on something, you're the only person who has the information, that's great. If you're saying something everybody else knows, it's kind of common knowledge out there, that's okay, provided there's a reason why you are the one giving it. If the audience is getting something out of it, they may be willing to just let pass on the why you. You figure, oh well, somebody's got to give it, and you might as well be the one who gives it. But if you're telling something really important, or you want people to buy something you have, a big question you're going to be is, why should I really care about that from you? What makes you so special? You have to answer that question. It's right there in the audience's mind. Why should I pay attention to you? So today we're going to talk about those three questions. What do you have to say? And why does it matter to the audience? Finally, why are you the best one to say? If you can answer those three questions in your audience's mind, you'll do just fine in your speech. What do you know That's the first question the audience is going to ask you. What do you know? So before you go out there on stage, you have to figure out, what do you know? Fortunately, most of you have been around for a while. You've learned a few things in life, and that's what you know. Before you go out on stage and start talking in front of people, just figure out what exactly it is that you do know, because people need to understand this. Too often, people can get in a situation where they go out, they start talking, and they aren't really quite sure what they actually know, what they understand. And so, as time goes on, and they keep on talking, it just becomes where they really don't understand what they're talking about. They really don't get it. When that happens, and the audience understands that you just don't get it, then they turn off. That's it. They're done. They move on to something else. It's very important to figure out what you know. Of course, you've got to know something. You wouldn't want to talk to people. There has to be something driving you, something that you understand and you really get, that you want to share. Now, if you aren't quite certain if you want to talk or where you want to talk, you have this urge, I want to talk, I don't know what I want to talk about. That's the time to sit down and start writing out what you really do know. What are the things you know? Because quite often what will happen is we kind of don't really give ourselves full credit. We push ourselves down. And we should be building ourselves up. Because we do know a lot of things. We've been around for a while. Many, many, many years, some of us. We've learned quite a lot during that time. So we do know things. We just don't know that we know. So every now and then it helps to ask yourself the question, what do you know? And then just start writing things down and see what things might make an interesting thing to talk about. What's something that you know really well that you can talk about? And that's the key, to know it really well. Quite often when people start talking, they may start talking about something you know a little bit about, but not a lot. You don't want to do that. So what do you know really, really well? Another way to put what do you know is to say, what are you interested in? What do you like? What do you enjoy? What gets you going? Everybody has something like that. It's a hobby. It's something they've thought about. It's something that they're always studying. It's something that they've had with them for a while. And that's something you know. Could be you like to play chess and you know some things about chess. Could be that you like sports. You've learned a lot of game of football and you know a lot of things about football. Could be something personal about getting along with people, interacting with people, in a relationship. Something you've learned, you now understand, that you want to share. So what do you know can sound like an intimidating question, a scary question, but it doesn't need to be. What do you know? What are you interested in? What do you like to do? These are all part of the same thing. Once you get to something you really like, you really enjoy, hey, you're just off and running. So once you find that subject that you really like, you really enjoy, you really like to talk about, you can just talk and talk and talk and talk. Once you figure out, what do you know? What do you like? What are you interested in? Understand that, and you're off and running. Now, once you understand what you know, it's only part of the matter, as I mentioned at the beginning, but it's an important part of the matter. Understanding what you know. And if you hadn't thought about speaking in front of people, a little nervous about it, it's okay. Figure out what you know. And once you know what you know, then you're ready to go to the second part and answer the second question. Why should I care? That's the second question. That's the second question you have to answer. Why should your audience care about what you have to say? It's wonderful if you're going to talk about something that's important to you. That's great. You'll have passion, excitement, interest in it. But if your audience doesn't care, you can stop talking right there. If your audience doesn't care, if it doesn't matter to your audience, you're not going to make that connection. And here is the situation where you have to kind of imagine, what do you think the audience would be interested in? And that has all to do with, who are you talking to? Once you understand who you're talking to, you understand what they might be and might not be interested in. If you're talking to doctors, they probably want to hear something about medicine. Talking to lawyers, probably want to hear something about the law. Talking to business people, you talk about business, and so on. Has to be relevant to your audience. Now this is a big challenge. It sounds easy. I don't make it sound too easy, trying to figure out what your audience wants. If it was that easy, well then everybody would be giving fantastic speeches. Everybody would say, wow, what a great speech. It talked exactly about what I was interested in. And as you know, that doesn't happen all the time. The first thing you have to do is to be aware of the audience and thinking about them. And the next thing you have to do is actually to guess right about what they're interested in. So why should I care? Why does it matter to me? Why does it matter at all what the heck you're talking about? That's what the audience is thinking. First thought in the audience's mind, why should I care? And your speech should answer that and say, you should care about this speech because. And that's kind of the formula. Every speech you give, you basically want to say, you should care about this speech because. Sometimes this is called the benefits. Laying out the benefits of the speech is very important to get the audience involved. Once they understand the benefits, then they'll start paying attention. Then they'll start listening. The challenge is, how do you figure out what your audience is interested in? Well, you could just do it on your own. Just ask yourself, gee, what do I think the audience might like? Another way to do it is to talk to people. Ask them what they're interested in. Find out what they're really studying, what's really going on in their heads. This will help to get at that answer, why should I care? Talk to your friends, people you know. What's interesting to you? What are you really interested in and want to know more about? What's on your mind? What's a big thing going on that really affects you? Once you understand that, then you can go on from there. You have to get to that point of understanding, why should I care? And as you talk more to your friends, you talk about the things, you'll start to understand what's important to them. And what's important to your friends probably will be important to others. So getting at that, why should I care, can be challenging. It can be tough. Because we have to get outside of our own head and into our audience's head. Really important to do. Get outside of where we are and into them. And it can sound kind of scary, kind of weird a little bit. Oh no, I'm losing my mind and stepping into their mind. And that's really it. You're losing your own mind and you're stepping into their mind. And your whole speech should have some sort of thing that says, you should care about this because. If you do such and such, this speech is important to you. You will get so many benefits out of this speech. Here's one benefit. Here's another benefit. Here's another benefit. Make it very clear to the audience why they should care. Once you've thought it out, once you've figured out, aha, that's why they should care, let your audience know. Let your audience know about your great brainstorm of understanding. Because that's the most important question you have to answer as you're developing and building the speech. Why should I care? And you really can't get too far unless you can get that question answered. So talk to some people you know and get them to help you figure out your big audience question of, why should I care? And the final question you'll have to answer is, why are you the best one to give me this information? Why you, basically? Why should I trust you? Why should I listen to you? What's so great about you anyway? If you're wondering why you should listen to me as far as developing and growing your public speaking skills, one reason is because I'm a member of Toastmasters for many years. Toastmasters is an organization dedicated to public speaking. So that's one reason to listen to me, something I know something about. Also, I'm a multi-year finalist in the District 30 competition. That's a competition that's Chicago-wide in Toastmasters. So, a bunch of people out there as judges thought I was good enough to know what the heck I was talking about in terms of evaluation. And I'm a medalist. At least one time, I got to that final part and I actually got an award out of everybody in Chicago. And that's why you should listen to me. Now, why should your audience listen to you? Maybe you too have won awards for what you do. Maybe you just happen to be the expert and know everything about this particular area. Maybe it's just something you've studied for your entire life and really thought about, really paid attention to. You don't have to have some fancy degree to become an expert at something. Sometimes it's just you've studied enough, you've worked enough, you've thought about it enough that you understand it. Make it clear to your audience you really get it, and they'll want to pay attention to you. But something you should always think about is, why should the audience listen to you? And you want to make that really clear in what you're saying. Another way to do it is just to make it relevant. We talked a little bit previously about benefits. Well, these are the benefits, and you should listen to me because I'm going to make you get better. I'm going to make these benefits a reality for you. I'm going to make this happen for you. And that's the thing. If you can help your audience develop and grow, then they'll listen to you. They'll pay attention. They'll say, yeah, I'm going to get these benefits, and you're the one, the right one to make it happen. If you can answer this question of why should I listen to you? Why are you the best one to give me this information? Then you're going a long way down the road to getting your audience really involved with you. Really interested in what you have to say. Now this is the final part. This is that last hurdle you have to get over. But it's the one you can't ignore. Sure, you got something, and it's relevant to your audience, but you got to convince your audience that you're the best one to give it. Otherwise, they'll just say, well, gee, find the person who really knows this stuff, and that's the person I want to hear from. I agree, it's really important, but I don't want to listen to you. I want to listen to someone who really knows what the heck they're doing. You don't want that to happen. You have to make it clear to the audience that you are the best one to give them this information. You are the one they need to hear. You are the right one to hear. Sometimes the reason you're the one to hear is because nobody else is doing this. Or nobody else has seen it quite the way that you see things. You bring a unique point of view, a unique perspective, a unique way to see things. And that works too. That's perfectly valid. Hey, I've got a special way of seeing things, and you're going to be better off seeing things that way. Don't even bother going to other people because nobody else does this. So if you can do that, if you can let your audience know that nobody else does things this way, then they'll definitely get interested and involved. Have to answer that question in the audience's mind, because even once they're down the road and saying, yeah, it's important, yeah, it's certainly something that matters to me, I don't get the details, why you? It's the last question in the audience's mind, the last question they need to get past before they really begin listening to you. So you have to answer that question. You're up there and you're talking. The final hurdle to get over, the final question in the audience is, why are you the right person I should be listening to? Convince your audience of that, and you're home free with your presentation. Very important that you know something. And if you start talking without being really certain what the heck you're talking about, there's going to be a problem. Somewhere down the line, it's not going to work out. It's going to go bad. And you're not going to be happy with it. So first start with thinking about, what do you know? And then you can go on from there. If you think you don't know anything, well, then don't talk. Seriously, if you think you don't know anything, think again. You know something. You've lived. You've had experiences. From the very time you're born, you've had experiences. Think about what you know. Figure it out. The other question you have to answer is, why should the audience care? The whole audience out there is thinking, why should I care? Why the heck should I care about what you're talking about? So hopefully you pick something that's important for the audience to know, important for the audience to understand, that'll help the audience go from where they are to where they want to be. And if you haven't figured that out yet, you better do some more thinking. Very important to pull the audience in, get them involved. If you don't get the audience involved, then there's a problem. Then people are thinking, waste of my time. Why bother? Silly. Why should I care? I don't know why I should care. Audience has to always understand why they should care. And even after you go past those two hurdles, there's one final hurdle. And that is, why are you the best person to give this information? Why you? Before you get scared, start saying, oh no, I'm the wrong person. I shouldn't do this. Before you get to that point, calm down. Realize you are the best person to give that information. Maybe you've got a different point of view nobody else has. Maybe you have some special expertise nobody else has. Maybe it's just an idea you've had, you've thought about, you've heard other people give it, but you think you can give it better. Whatever it is, based on credentials, based on your enthusiasm, based on your excitement about it, you're the best person to give the speech. If you can't convince yourself you're the best person to give the speech you've got to give, then don't go on stage. Seriously, don't go on stage. If you booked a room, cancel it. So if you honestly don't believe you're the best person to give this information, don't waste anybody's time. They won't believe you, and they won't pay attention to you either. No matter how great your information is, if you don't believe in it, they won't believe in it. And that's really what it comes down to. Believing in yourself. Believing you've got what it takes. So it seems easy to just go up there and say, hey, here's my speech. Listen, learn, develop, grow. But actually there's more stuff going in the audience's mind. Before they even get to that point of listening to their speech, they've got these questions going on through their mind. And how you answer those questions determines whether the audience will tune in or tune out. And those questions are, what do you know? Right from the very beginning, you got to at least sound like you know something. Why should I care? The audience has to care. And why are you the best one to give this information? If you can answer those three questions in your speech, if you can somehow through your speech introduction, make those 3 questions crystal clear in your audience's mind, then you got them hooked. You got them hooked, pulled in, and they'll want to find out more. If you can't answer those questions, the audience will tune out. That'll be it. The whole time you'll be wondering, why don't they get this? Because one of those questions wasn't answered. So remember, if you want to get your audience to get that point, and really get that point well, you have to answer the 3 questions.